What's up, guys? Here. Welcome. That was weird. No, I don't know why I said that. I don't say that. Welcome back to another episode of Gregtech, Community Edition Modern. Last time we got our fuel source kind of modified to be able to generate more, which it looks like we are starting to have a little bit of a problem here, where we are running super low, and even though I think we're basically running out of fuel at this point, is what our issue is. Or battery? I think it's battery. It's battery over here. Got it. So I guess this ends up using more battery than we're making somehow? I'm mildly confused with that, but we'll have to figure out what that is later. But we are running dangerously low here on fuel, so we kind of need to make a setup quick to multiply our fuel capacity. And actually found myself a way to do that. So what I need to do is we need to siphon off some stuff back here. I don't want to do it back here because it's going to be the easiest way to do it. So first we're going to set up 2 turbines. And looks like we're going to have to dig right there for one of them. Let's actually move this one over right to there. So, first thing we're going to need is our basic chemical reactor. We'll have it right there. Second thing we'll need is our basic mixer. So, I did grab myself an infinite water cover, so we can apply that there. We need to make sure it will output this direction. And we need to go get some of our polytetrafluoroethylene pipes. Because we need acid-resistant pipes. We need those, but we're going to need these as well. Okay. As we need to bring down our sulfuric acid. I was looking through some recipes, and I found it very interesting that it tells you to go through ammonia. Wrong spot. But it tells you to go through ammonia, even though there is a different recipe, and I want to see if there's like some sort of reason why. But if we put all of this together in here, we should be able to make nitric acid straight up. Number 3. What is our reason? Our nitrogen dioxide, that's what it is. Okay. Which we can make that pretty easily, right? Yeah. No, we do need a... Okay. That makes a little bit more sense. So let's go ahead and pop down stuff down that. So, make ammonia. Recipe we were looking at is here. We need hydrogen and nitrogen. So we're going to have our hydrogen come down, and we're going to have our nitrogen come down. Reactor. There. Bring down our straight down. So there's that. There's our nitrogen. Now I want to star that recipe. You can grab it really. So we got our nitrogen and our hydrogen coming down. And then from there, our nitric acid recipe. Going to use, I don't think we need ammonia and oxygen. Won't need to bring this down. Yes, we want to break this. Wrench that. That way, 4x4. Make sure that we have this, that. Again, wrench this that way. We should be able to come up, auto output our hydrogen. Now we got both our hydrogen, our oxygen in here. Now, that recipe says that it takes 72... That one. Ooh, that's a big recipe there. Hoping that we have enough fuel source to do that, but we'll assign that to 1. We need to go get ourselves a gas turbine, which I thought that I had one on me. Maybe I do? No. I know. This gas turbine, craft one of those up. And then, once we've got the ammonia, we mix the nitric acid and the sulfuric acid to get nitration mixture. This one is also acidic, so we'll have to pump that out with tetrafluoroethylene pipes. Put in a third HV reactor. We can get ourselves the nitro-benzene. So do I have... Let's craft up... No, that's not good. I did craft up the copper I needed. Grab out the copper to start on that. We need some steel, so we need our iron. Let's craft up another 64. Get started on those. Pop those in. Let that continue, because we are going to need additional... Turn my jetpack off. So, plop that down. That will start making... It does look like it uses that full amount. Not quite full, but a large chunk of it. There will be our first amount of nitrogen. Let's go ahead and break this off this pipe out of the way. And we'll bring over our mixer. I think I'll leave the mixer right there. That polytetrafluoroethylene, not needed here. Oh no, I did need that. Boy, am I wasting fuel. Okay. So we did. Oh boy. Doing great here, aren't I? We still need our oxygen. And then we just need to pump over the ammonia. So output to that side. With our oxygen and ammonia, we can make our nitric acid. Get nitric oxide. Oh, that's not right. So we did have to do it in the large one. That is exactly what it was. Wait. But that one's currently in use. You know which one isn't currently in use, guys? One to make our fuel. So let's rip this out and take it downstairs. Gives us the other turbine that we need, actually, so that's kind of nice. Wait a second. Am I stuck still, actually? And tell me I am still stuck. Actually, I don't think... Let's look at the recipe. I think you can interchange. Oh, use. I think you can interchange the buses. Let's look at the multi-block thing real quick. We got our tips and tricks for forming multi-blocks. There are two really important factors to know in building multi-blocks. Like EMI, remember to keep things versatile. Rule number 1, check EMI. This is probably the most obvious, but EMI is much more than just a cute picture of how multi-blocks look when built. Use your mouse to rotate and preview, hover over any blocks used. EMI page also contains any ingredients list required blocks. You can also right-click a block in the preview to get a display of all the blocks in a specific position. Rule number 2, multi-blocks are versatile. There are no definite ways to form the multi-block. Most of the time, you have to complete freedom over the tier of buses and hatches used, and you have the ability to choose where you want your inputs/outputs. Taking the EBF, for example, any tier of an energy bus /hatch can be used, and they can be placed anywhere on the casing. Fluid hatches are also optional, though you might probably want them if you need to handle your recipes involving fluid. So it's not telling me exactly what I wanted to know. Multi-block input-output, similar to Steam multi-blocks, you are going to want buses. So I'm wondering if I can put multiple input hatches. And then have the one output hatch. Let's see, I've got an input hatch. Actually should have more input hatches. I have an input hatch there. So can I do 2 input hatches on a single one? Does it have to have both? Because the problem with the nitric acid is we do need 3. Yes, 3? Is it ammonia, oxygen, ammonia in the chemical reactor. Nitrogen? Well, we could do the... We actually... Like, that's crazy. Chemical reactor. Nitrogen dioxide. It does have to be in a large reactor. Okay. Oxygen. Because I just want to make sure we have the recipe favorited so that it sticks with that one. Pull it out. We need 4 oxygen and ammonia to make the nitrogen action. Nitrogen acid. If I get myself a second input hatch, does that work? My blocks are over here. Right there. One of those. One glass. One polyethylene. And we'll just go ahead and extract it over here. Pull it out. Go downstairs. Build it downstairs and then try it out. Because if we can do it in that way, it's going to be a lot better for us. Assembler. Boom. 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 You know, this is going to be awesome. So we are running extremely low on also our ULV. Next done. Every time I come down and look at this, we are running closer and closer to out, and we are out. We're currently running on fumes. So we will probably have to start jump-starting this with methane, and I'm glad we got ourselves a methane factory up, basically. As without it, I don't know what I'd do. So, plop this on in here. We actually have to go back outside again. Let's make sure that we can form the multi-block before I do anything. So we're going to have to break out that piece. And then it doesn't require more than LV, so I can put on an HV hatch, but then use the power level there. So we'll do that. Let's go ahead and get our HV hatch down. So I can always switch this out later. This is going to have to route over here, and we'll place our first input hatch there. Our second one's going to go on top of that piece, right there. Really do. This is things going. Yeah, that's an input and that is output. Hope this works out. So 1, 2. This is an input. There. I'm going to output on this other side over here. Coupernut oil out here first. Put our maintenance hatch down. Block. You want right here to be the output side. Hatch. There. Might as well use the bigger one. Just in case, because I do think I'm going to have it. Yep. Our input bus. Does that work? It does. Okay. I didn't know that. That might fix something outside. But, make nitric acid in this recipe, we need to use number 24. Although we need 2 output buses. Let's see, I have another output bus in here somewhere. No, I don't. Here, guys. Let's go look at box of many things. Do we have an output hatch? Output hatch, there we go, right there. I do not have a void thing right now, but we'll have to void the water. So let's go ahead. That. And then this cannot have a circuit in it, but this input hatch can. And the recipe we're looking for needs 24. Let us start it at 24. We are oh, that's right. Do the input hatch that way. You have to also match the energy. I forgot about that. Because it automatically overclocks it. It's a minor oversight on my part. That way. Right over here. Okay. Put this out. Punch this into place. There's that. Now we need the mixer. Mixer is now going to be directly underneath Water's coming out there and the nitric acid's coming. Not where I want the output to be. Yes, it is full. So let us actually now pause the workload, grab out the nitric acid, and change its block is. Right over here. Re-enable. Technically not smooth. I want that to be this one. We'll put them down now. Does that work? Wait. I guess that's the way it's gonna have to be. Kind of annoyed by that, but that will set that up. We can now put our mixer down right there. Some turbine. Bring down sulfuric acid. First, let's make sure it is outputting. Bottom. Come down. Across. Over. Not one more. That was a bad choice. Yeah, we have to make sure that it goes back before we go over, otherwise we block it. Drop downs. And now we've got ourselves some nitration mixture. Awesome. Ooh, boy. So now we just got to make sure that we have enough. Start mixing some benzene together. I know probably a better idea to keep a hold of fuels, but we need another HV reactor. That's right, we did need more of those, which is why we have made more out of our iron chloride now. Well, looks like this might have to do this for the last little bit. You just need like the one? No, we're missing 3. So, chloric acid, the quickest way for us to get that. It's a really fast way, it's just salt, right? Okay. I believe I actually did up some salt just for that case. Start where I put it. There it is. Just for this case. And I will be back once I got the last machine ready, so we can actually build our nitro-benzene. Alright, we are back, everything is set up upstairs. We just need to pump this out up into our pipe there in the back up top. So, ahead. Pull up one. Oh no, this is... I just realized this does have to be... I was about to, like, totally screw up and just use polyethylene pipes to get all the way over here. So, let's go get the polytetrafluoroethylene stack that I have back at the just upstairs. So yeah, that would have been tremendously bad. So, what I want to do, I'm going to pipe it straight there and go straight up. So let's go ahead and find where it is. Dig a tunnel down. Right there. Right there. I even used it. So it is right there. We're going to go up this spot right here. Dug in the water again. Forgot about the flooding in the basement area. Get this up the best we can. Come on. Water. Down. One more water. Over. Oh. Now we can just do this. Underneath. Catch it there. Let's start pumping it out through the bottom. Sweet. Go. Once again, right. Oh. And this. Rid of the piranha pipes that are down here. Get rid of the rest of them in a second. Hook it up. Successful connection point. No, draining the one direction. Yes. That's going to be obnoxious until it finally fills up. So it's filtered right now. But now we should be able to go downstairs and make sure that it is feeding into the pipe. It should slowly stack up. It looks like it is using barely any. So we could actually upgrade this all the way to like a better mixer. How fast are we making our nitric acid? Fast enough we could definitely take that better mixer up. Let's see if we've got... I don't think I've got an empty mixer. I might still have the one upstairs. Might have trashed it. No, I do. This one has no patterns in it. Out. This will make it go from 2 to 4. Be a much faster mix. Wait for this one to pop off, and then instead of 25 seconds, it will only take 12 and a half. Like that. Puts it down. Now put the bottom. we go. Now it should start filling up. Oh, it could be up top here and see we got our first batch of nitrobenzene yet. We do. We have our very first batch of the nitrobenzene. I think we'll just crash the sulfuric acid for now, as we need to make sure that we're getting the fuel first. So we're gonna need a couple more fuel filters and the trash thing. I will be back once I got that set up. Alright, we're back with the final part, void cover, that we're going to have placed void out. Let's have it placed like this. I want it placed on that far side over there. Well, first let's figure out which one of these covers I need. The nitrobenzene to start coming out. Is this one? We want the nitrobenzene to come out this way, which means we're going to get rid of this. And allow ourselves pump in nitrobenzene. What? Filter extract. There we go. So now as things start to drain... Oh. Whoa. No more benzene. As things start to drain, we're going to have our pipes fill up with nitrobenzene, which will then back up the system. As that is what we need for our system. Now, to make sure that we can keep making the nitrobenzene, we do, however, need to apply it. So where did it go? Oh, that part. Now I can place this over here. That is not what I wanted. We need to pull that off really fast. We want the void one. And in the void one, we're going to place our filter to get rid of the diluted sulfuric acid for now, as the fuel is a much more important part for us. We do not want our backing out. And that will fix that situation. Now our next task to tackle, as it appears... Our battery does just charge in 12 minutes now, because that's not quite enough fuel. However, one thing we can do to solve that, we can add ourselves a right there, and flip it around, give it some juice. Now it'll work 24 minutes. Still need one more. Which I can go craft one of those up pretty quickly and be able to make that satisfied so that we can keep our production running. But now with that, we're going to end up getting a lot more nitrobenzene a lot quicker. And this should all start filling up once again. Provide power to the system that's much, what's the word for it, much more fuel efficient, as the nitrobenzene burns for, I think it's 4 times the amount. Actually, no, it's more than 4 times the amount, because I believe benzene, no, it is about 4 times, ooh, even more. It is even more. No, 4 times the amount. I was thinking of the gasoline that burns for 1600 for some reason, even though I just looked at it. But that finishes up that system. last thing I wanted to build before I take off here requires a obsidian plate and this block of ender pearl that has been in my inventory for this entire time. So if we take that and assemble that together, we get ourselves a void portal. Now, I've never used this void portal thing, so we're gonna go and place this in kind of a nice area that we can come back to. Right up in here. I'm guessing if I right click on it, it's on my bar. Oh. Sweet. So now we've got our own place to go and build, and it looks like it's always daytime. So we don't have to worry about weather, or well, not weather, but light levels. So this. Oh. What's this? It's here. Whoa! Okay. That was strange. Don't know what that was. Wonder if it's a little glitch. Let's test it one more time. It is. Oh, does that like explain anything about it? Is that like where the void is? So if I like build another somewhere else. HV. Void portal. Doesn't explain anything about it, but I'm guessing that that might be what it is. That it's linked to like a specific location. I guess that's the center of the chunk that I put it in. Well, that will give us a place to build out machines that we can have. Oh, like this will give me a much better use of my time. It's coupled with a couple other items that will be coming up here in the next few episodes. Building things out so we have places to put machines, wire things up. It's going to be so much easier, and that is one of those things I was kind of hoping to get done. And if I can get ender pearls like set up to be auto-crafted, I can start making a lot more of the ender item and ender fluid things to have, you know, pipes become a thing of the past, which would be really nice, to be honest. Probably use them for short range travel stuff, but like long range travel is a pain in the butt, and that's why I don't mind the pipe setup we got out over here, because eventually that can all be replaced. But I'm gonna have to take care of that sometime later on. Thank you guys so much for watching here, and I'm so glad I could get that fuel stuff taken care of, so that fuel will now be on the rise again. As once you start running low on power, everything becomes more difficult. I was worried that it was going to get to the point where we'd be out of power entirely and not be able to do much of anything. That's why I have the backup systems in place. Have a great day, you guys. Bye!